Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And after a relatively slow news week last week, we've got some pretty big news this week. After a very long silence, we finally got some more information on the Gundam live action movie. The director will be Jordan Vogt-Roberts, famous from Kong Skull Island. The scriptwriter is award-winning writer Brian K. Vaughan, I think that's how you pronounce it, and the executive producer is Cale Boiter, most well known for being a producer on Detective Pikachu. So while I'm still careful about getting my hopes up for obvious reasons, I am getting carefully optimistic looking at the roster that we have so far. Vogt-Roberts might be a relatively new director, but Kong was well received, and Vaughan definitely seems to know what he's doing when it comes to writing. Now, I just hope they're not going to be focusing too much on the giant robot aspect of Gundam because, well, giant robots and giant monsters are kinda what both the director and Studio Legendary, in charge of this project, are known for. Anyways, the only other thing that we know at the moment is that it'll be a Netflix movie, and hopefully it won't be another 2 years before we get some more information on the actual story of the movie, because again, we don't know anything about that at the moment. I really want to know if it's going to be either a retelling or a reimagining of an already existing thing, which I don't think would turn out that well. So for that reason, I do hope they put it in its own self-contained universe. Like, they could also go for the side story option, but that would just have a less broad appeal, which I think they would try to go for. To end this section on a high note then, at the very least, the bar currently isn't very high for becoming the best Gundam Western live action adaptation. We've got Canadian Snorefest the movie, and we've got Chubby Char the game. On the Japanese live-action front then, we can look forward to the second episode of the Gundam Build Real drama series on April the 26th, and of course they've also announced some Gunpla. Unfortunately, it's going to be P Bandai exclusive. The Real Great RX-78-2 Team Bright Custom with indeed a very bright color scheme, and the Real Great Zaku 2 High Mobility Type Team Monster Custom, which is essentially a Char custom with a little bit more black in there. Now, I've seen some people in the comments when they saw that the Gundam Build Real was going to be featuring a Real Great RX-78-2, who were hoping that this meant that we might be getting a Revive RX-78-2, well, a Revive Real Great RX-78-2, but judging by the pictures, the Team Bright custom is just going to be a straight-up recolor of the regular Real Great. Now, the Zaku 2, on the other hand, if you look at the head of that thing, it seems like at the very least it's got a new scalp, because the viewport of the mono eye looks quite a bit smaller. But other than that, it just looks like it's going to be a normal Real Great again. Then on the non-live action side, Reconguista in G's third movie is coming out on July the 22nd, and that's all I've really got to say about it. There are 2 trailers, which I can see because they're region locked, and there's also an interview with Yoshiyuki Tomino, which I also can see because the thing is also region locked. So I'm just going to be moving on to the Gunpla news. Last week I was wondering about when and how we would get the Doppelhorn and the Nuke Pack for the Daggers and the Windham, and it turns out that I simply missed the initial announcement. It seems that we're getting them together as an option set through P Bandai, and normally we should have gotten more information on them this week because they should have been pre-orderable on the 10th. But, as you can probably guess by the way I've been talking about them, I haven't seen any pre-orders nor any extra information, so I'll keep you all updated when we do get more information on those. What we can pre-order though is the high-grade Pale Rider D2 Titan specification from the Anaheim Laboratory logbook. Of course, also P Bandai. And this thing definitely managed to grab my attention for 2,420 yen, around $20. We're getting a nice base kit with a sweet backpack and a good variety of accessories. And I even think that this is the first time we've gotten the Hyper Javelin in 1/144th scale. That is, if we're not counting that one magazine exclusive upgrade set for the Revive RX-78-2, where it was just molded in regular white plastic instead of actually having a clear beam effect part. Another P Bandai thing then we could start pre-ordering yesterday was the wide base from the brand new FW Gundam Converge SB line, with SB standing for Space Battleship. And now, at first when I looked at this, I was like, this seems familiar. I feel like I've seen this kind of wide base before. A Converge wide base with a hangar that opens up. But then I saw this picture right here with a comparison with a standard Converge figure, and I immediately realized, oh, this is significantly smaller than the thing that I was thinking about. And you, of course, can't put any actual Converge figures in it, even though you can open up the hangar. Also, it is only 4,950 yen, or $45, compared to the $200 of its much larger counterpart. What does kind of irk me though is that it's very apparently a toy. And yet, it's being sold through a line that is called Premium Bandai.
At Premium Bandai, everything is the highest quality.
But whatever, on to the stuff you could get this week. First and foremost, there was the Master Grade Ginn for 4,730 yen, or a little over $40. The badass redesign of Seed's version of the Zaku. And other than the stuff that I've already talked about in previous videos, one really cool feature that we hadn't seen before was that the missile pods don't just go onto the legs, but he can even hold them in his hands. That's something I didn't expect to see. Not necessarily something I needed, but something that is cool to see nonetheless. As for me, I am totally grabbing one, and I'm now also super excited about a possible future Master Grade Saigu. That would be awesome, so I really hope Bandai makes that happen. And then there were a bunch of SD kits from SDW Heroes and SD Son Goku Sojuden. For 660 yen, there was the Sergeant Berde Buster Gundam and Goku Impulse Gundam. For 770 yen, we got the Nobunaga Gundam Epion, Ganning Crossbone Gundam, Shu Huang Gundam Death Scythe, and Jianwei Master Gundam. And then finally for 880 yen, we got the Qian Ba Chao Chao Wing Gundam. And that thing definitely honors the name Wing Gundam. On the 13th then, Banpresto released two versions of the Mobile Suit Gundam Internal Structure MS-06S Zaku 2 Char's custom version. And since they called it Internal Structure, I really think they missed a great opportunity here to make the actual internal structure, or the inner frame, gray, because that would have made it look really interesting. You've got the clear armor then that you can look through to really get a good look at that inner frame. As for the pricing, the figure is a prize figure like from a claw machine and stuff, so, or whatever other variant they have where you can win figures, like they have the weird thing with the two bars where you kind of have to knock it in between them. Anyways, it's something you have to win from one of those machines, so there's no set prize, but typically these Banpresto prize figures do tend to go for relatively cheap on the secondhand market, so keep your eyes peeled if you really want one of them. Then on the 10th, sales for the Master Grade Freedom version 2.0 silver coating, or as I'm calling it, the shiny phase shift down version, and the real great new Gundam clear color version started at the Gundam Base. They'll be going for 9,900 yen and 4,620 yen, respectively. The final interesting new release for this week then was a book that's all about the Principality of Zeon and the Zabis that ruled it. And what's also very interesting to point out is that the book, as well as many other official Gundam sources, treats their depiction in the Origin and Thunderbolt as separate from the other mainline Universal Century series, which is something that's sometimes still a topic of debate amongst the community. Anyways, before we move on to the weekly Gundam apparel update, I just had to tell you that the Gundam series as a whole won the special award at the Japan Character Award 2021. And one of the big reasons that they won this prize is the establishment of the Yokohama Gundam Factory, along with the giant moving Gundam. Understandably, this made a lot of waves in Japan, and then inevitably led them to winning the prize. And talking about the giant Gundam, in commemoration of the Hathaway's Flash movie, they're currently carrying out a Minovsky craft flying experiment on it, which I really wish I could go see for myself, but unfortunately it's only until May the 31st. So it's a good thing there's this week's crazy Gundam apparel to put a smile on my face. Remember that first lineup of Gundam underwear from Bankore? Well, it's time to suit up again, guys, because there's a second lineup. And this time, it's the Zabi and new Gundam underwear, which you can reserve starting today. For 4,400 yen, or $40, we can get the t-shirt. For 3,850 yen, or around $35, we can get the underwear itself. And then for 1,980 yen, we can get the matching socks. And all of them are currently scheduled for June 2021. At this point, I just wonder what the next release is going to be. How about a Goof? Or a Gundam Mark II? Then on the 20th, pre-orders will open for Bandai's newest collaboration with fashion brand Zozotown. In commemoration of the Hathaway's Flash movie, they'll be releasing 5 limited edition t-shirts with a vintage feel about them, and to really drive home that 80s and 90s nostalgia, they're even packaging them in VHS-inspired boxes. Man, remember in the 90s when you were watching a VHS movie and all of a sudden something went wrong and the machine decided to damage your VHS tape, or even worse, it straight up ate it? Good times. Good times. Anyways, for 6,350 yen, excluding the tax, we can get a black t-shirt with either an RX-78-2 design, Soldiers of Sorrow design, Encounters in Space design, the movie, not the video game, a Sharks counterattack design, and of course a really cool rendition of the Hathaway's Flash movie poster. They are on the expensive side for a normal t-shirt, but part of me does want to get one. And if you want to celebrate Hathaway's Flash even more and you've still got some money left, the Gundam Cafe will gladly take it. I mean, help you celebrate it. Starting April the 23rd until June the 6th, we're getting special menu items taken directly from the movie, like the Bao Hotel room service, or the in-flight menu of Hausen Flight 356. Just what I always wanted. Airplane food when not in an airplane. Of course, some of the main characters will also get their own signature drink with a special coaster to collect, because of course, what would a commemoration be without special commemorative coasters? Another celebratory staple then is of course a clear drink bottle, this time either with the Xe Gundam or Penelope Gundam on them. But if Zeon is more your thing, you might want to consider going next door, because over at the Zeon's Diner they're having a Zabi family special event with the Zabi family maximum war potential menu. And every member of the family becomes their own dish, or, well, menu item. We've got Garma's curry, Caecilia's omurice, Dozel's meat, Giren's drinks with something growing out of it, and Degwin's dessert, because a parfait with cornflakes is exactly what I think about whenever I see Degwin. This event starts today and will run until June the 30th, and I think this is a very good topic to end on. So that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.